Happy Monday, and cold weather sucks. Let's just start there. Waking up a farm is enough work in the morning, but going out and have break fucking ice off of ponds and troughs and everything else. So if y'all are looking for field hand work, I'm hiring. So I'm just
Damn.
tired.
Okay, so I saw this trick, and I don't know if it works, but a friend posted that if you take a bottle of water, fill it with salt.
It doesn't work. It's a
It
fucking
doesn't?
myth.
No?
we've
Okay.
trust me, we have tried every damn trick under the sun to not water up. We took freaking even milk jugs and tried to do it with that. Yeah, no. The only reason those work is because you got to have an animal that plays in the water more, so it works more for horses because they're constantly pushing it around, and that's what keeps the ice from solidifying. But yeah, goats and pigs, they don't care, and chickens, So
it's cold enough there for you guys to have water freezing?
yeah. It's 22 degrees right now. Feels like 17, 16.
It's 0 degrees here. It feels like -2.
Yeah, y'all come get your cold weather. That shit sucks down here.
Yeah, I'm in 23. Feels like 12 down here in New Braunfels this week. So still cold, but not that cold.
And there's a hint of snow flurries in Texas, so like everything is shutting down. Like there's not snow on the ground. There's just a hint that it might happen. And everything
that always makes me laugh. All of the southern states, you get just a little flurry and everything. Forget it. We're not leaving the house. We're not going anywhere. We're not.
Down here they don't throw salt on the roads. They throw sand. So
they do that here sometimes too. They'll mix it up. They'll like salt them one day and then sand them the next day.
Yeah, well, we do the sand because they like to freeze the mud, but it's really because we get more ice than we do snow. And the sand doesn't, or the salt doesn't melt the ice. It only melts, so it gives you traction on the ice, is what they say. But it's dumb. It's dumb. I bought a new golf cart this weekend with a dump head on it, so gas powered. So I'm stoked to get that thing rocking and rolling.
Yeah, except the only way out of your property is up a hill, so it doesn't do you much good right now.
Well, I'm not trying to go all out of the property. I just wanted to run the property to take all the things because everything on my farm slants, so you walk anywhere and it's like you're climbing a mountain. So now I have a vehicle that I get to flip over and roll down.
I just down going uphill, and I was
like, it's just sliding all the way down.
Yeah. Anybody do anything fun this weekend? Anything exciting?
I went to a cheer competition to hang out with Holly Crawshaw and see her daughter
do
very
cheerleading
cool. Here in Indianapolis. So Lennon and I went and watched this first time. That is more glitter and sparkles and shit than I have ever seen anywhere. Like, oh my God. Because I was a cheerleader.
ABC, you're like a glitter and sparkle girl. What the hell?
I mean, not like that. My God. Things out of control.
Wait, did I just call her a stripper? No,
I mean, not really. But I mean, like even the dads, y'all, even the cheer dads had like glitter all over their faces and their girls' colors on and like wigs. It was crazy.
Good on them, though. I mean, thank God I didn't have kids, but if I did, I would imagine I'd be the crazy one that was doing all the stuff too.
Yeah. It was fun. Just a whole new world. That's all.
Oh yeah, I can't say I've ever been to a cheer competition. I've been to wrestling tournaments, football, soccer, but not cheer. So that would be a new
down in St. Petersburg, Florida this weekend for some work, but ended up dragging on into the weekend. So that was pretty nice. The weather down there is A1.
Money.
Not 0 degrees.
Yeah.
No, it was like 55, sunny, nice coastal breeze. Like, oh, it was amazing.
Oh, my dad lives down in Florida, and he goes, "Yeah, it's getting cold down here." And I was like, "Oh, damn!" And now to hear 55, yeah, thanks, Dad.
That is
people
cold.
are bundled up in their beanies and scarves, and it's 55.
It's hilarious in Florida. Yeah, it drops below 70, and you got people with parkas on and hoodies. And, like it's.
I saw a viral video of bad weather in California, and they were like, "Look at the wind blow the leaves." Like that was the entire bad. It wasn't cold, wasn't hot, wasn't raining. The wind was blowing leaves. I mean, so Bernie, did you cry this weekend? Because aren't the Lions out now?
I did. Yeah, I cried a lot actually.
Dude, I was rooting for him, man. I really love their head coach. He's a cool dude.
Dan Campbell's the man. Yeah, you can't expect to win a playoff game with 5 turnovers.
I think Donnie is only paying attention to football so he can get after you, Bernie, and be like, Detroit
Now let's
sucks.
be honest. My 6 hours off of TikTok, because I'm back on again. Like the whole 6 hours they put me down for. I came back and the first video is a highlight reel of Detroit getting their ass kicked. But the Bills are in, I think. They're still right.
Yep. Bills won last night.
Right now, I'm rooting for the Bills just because they're such a fucking underdog type team.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
and how like Buffalo versus the Ravens yesterday, it was close. Like it came down to it. Like it was a 2-point conversion, and Donnie doesn't care, but it was awesome. It was super close, and he just like fumbled the 2-point conversion and just didn't make it right.
If you send me clips of the highlight reels, like the cool moments, not the boring shit in between, I'll watch that.
All right, I can do that.
All right, P, let's roll the game footage.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Michael. Go ahead.
I was just saying, I'm a big fan of Buffalo's quarterback because he's from where I'm from, Central California, like a small little farming town. Like the most like underdog story you could ever really draw up, like tiny town of like 1,000 people max, right? Like grew up on a farm and like didn't even really get any like collegiate scholarships at all, went to a junior college. And so for him to be in this position in the NFL playing this well is pretty cool for all of us that live in like the Fresno area. So
that's awesome. I mean, if you guys haven't watched I don't remember what the series is called, but they do the 4 Super Bowls that Buffalo lost. They actually did a documentary on it. It's a pretty powerful documentary because I didn't realize how isolated and whatnot Buffalo actually is, for that town. I mean, there's nothing to do in that town but watch Buffalo Bill football, and those fans are crazy digging through all that snow and whatnot, trying to fuck all that.
That's
I wouldn't even tailgate that one, and I'm a tailgater, right? Like I don't want to go see the game. I want to tailgate, right? And I'm not tailgating like there where I have to dig out my own parking spot. No.
Yeah, it makes me wonder how big tailgating is in Buffalo.
Oh, I bet it's
the stands
stupid.
are always full.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Tailgating's massive there too.
Yeah, there was a guy, I saw another clip. The guy was an announcer dude on the field. I mean, it's snowing like crazy. And this big burly motherfucker rips off his shirt and the crowd's going bananas as he's screaming at him, snowing, freaking ungodly cold, shirtless. I'm like, that's a meathead football player. That's all that is.
Yeah.
So, all right, people, we'll do it now.
All right. The morning we're playing Factor Crap Festival Edition, which kind of turned into is it real or is it not? So I'm going to show y'all a handful of festivals, and y'all are just going to have to give me your best guess on whether it's real or not.
Cool.
The Underwater Music Festival. Divers and snorkelers hit the water each July to watch musicians dressed as fish and mermaids. True?
Oh, yeah.
Playing instruments, flukelele, and trombone fish.
I would say that's real too.
There's no way that's real. There's
I mean, you
no
have
way.
those like mermaid fans that would go all out on this. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And so, fact. Off of the Florida Keys, started in the 1980s to raise awareness for the Keys coral
I kind of want that picture to blow up bigger so I can see those instruments.
So is the band bigger than 3 people, or is it just 3 people?
It's a bunch of groups that go out. It's a bunch of groups.
Crazy.
Everyone can go out and perform in this thing. All you got to do is show up and then dive down, and that's the whole festival.
But you can't hear them.
I mean, they do weird
You can't.
shit.
I mean, they're not actually playing anything. You can't plug in your guitar. You can't hear them.
Well, then it's not as cool. I want like under the sea real music and shit.
Right.
That's just making a costume and jumping in the fucking water.
That's exactly what it is. Yep.
Nice.
The Night of the Radishes Festival. The festival revolves around creating intricate and elaborate.
I believe that's real.
Radishes.
I believe that's real. They do all the pumpkin party festivals. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, this one's real. The people of Oaxaca, Mexico.
We need to tell Rebecca Prejean about this. She does emo eggs. Now she can do radishes.
Yeah.
Nice. The
Great
Great
Spaghetti Dance-Off. It's held annually in Rome. Participants come together to create the longest spaghetti chain and then use it as a dance partner, and it They all dance and massive dance.
I'm gonna
off.
say crap.
Yeah, I say crap. On this
Yeah.
one.
There's no shot. Okay, no way.
Yeah, it's a fake one. Purely for fun. The pajama parade.
I'm in on this one.
Yeah, annually in Sydney, Australia.
Perfect.
Yeah,
If
I
this
can
isn't
see this
real,
one
this
happening.
should be real.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean,
There's something about Sydney that makes me think they don't differentiate much between pajamas and their daily wear. So maybe
I mean, me and Elizabeth's mom and dad went bar hopping in pajamas one night in downtown Grapevine after doing the Polar Express. So I'm all for it.
Believable. Yeah, absolutely. Jessica, did you say you've done this one?
No, I've said I'm in. If it's especially if it's in Sydney, I'll go to Sydney in my pajamas.
No, this one I actually made up.
Oh, wow.
Marching your PJs in
This
downtown
is a
sounds
good
fun.
one.
Though.
Well, we're gonna make it a thing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like a lot of these festivals, like absolutely we could
There
jump
you go.
on.
Your next DFW happy hour.
There you
There
go.
we go. Uppahilly AA Festival. Shetland, Scotland, Uppahilly AA Festival.
I don't think you could have
Celebrating
made
Viking
this up.
heritage. No, you think it's real?
Well, I don't think you would have made that up. I just feel like that's not that seems really far fetched.
Helly
Mhm.
A. Fuck
this
it.
one
I
sounds
like
cool.
it.
I
You know
like
what?
this one. think
I
this
hope
is
it's a
actually-
thing.
Can we phone a
Burning-
friend and call Sharon?
Yeah.
Right.
Ooh, no. No phoning a friend. Not allowed.
I'm gonna go
Yeah,
with
this is
facts.
real.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. See, there's no way you would have come up with all that crap.
Yeah, right. What was weird, I was like, isn't AA like supposed to be capitalized both times? And I was like trying to figure it out, but everywhere it said it, it was 2 A's, one big, one small. And I'm like, it might be like the saying, Uppahilly or something. I'm like,
Right. I was going to say we might need to figure out what that actually means.
yeah, right. But yeah, showcasing the region's Viking past, I thought was super cool.
That's cool.
All right, Cloud Watchers Day. Tunter, I don't
It's
know
a
how
really
to say it.
shitty day if there's no clouds in
Antariparo?
the sky.
Yeah, that's true. But it's in Finland. I feel like there's always clouds in the sky.
Hmm.
The art of cloud watching. So everybody's painting the sky, lying down, identifying cloud shapes.
This
True.
sounds real,
Not
but
true.
I would
I-
never attend something like this.
Yeah,
No,
that's
same.
fair.
Yeah.
Saying real.
Mm-mm.
I'm gonna go crap.
I'm going crap too.
I go
Donnie,
real.
Jeff,
Crap.
this one, Cap. Cloud watching sounds fun, but I don't think we could do a real festival around it. I don't think we'd get enough traction.
I don't know.
The giant cookie stacking festival. Event participants try to stack as many cookies as possible without their towers toppling or breaking. The cookies must be of unusual variety: triple chocolate, cheese cookies, herb cookies, and the reigning champion gets a cookie crown.
So it's like cookie Jenga.
Yeah. What are we thinking? Real? Fake?
This sounds cap. To
Yeah,
me.
I think so too. Made up.
You had me
I'm
there
going
until I saw the
Cap.
giant cookie crown as the trophy for the winners. The giant cookie crown.
Yeah.
Crown? Is that what gave it away? Was the cookie crown?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The cookie crown for the winner. Yeah.
Okay. No, I feel like that would be fun though. It's not held in
mean,
London, like I said, or anywhere else.
I mean, it would
Nobody
make
is-
a good YouTube channel with
Yeah.
all those minute to win it challenges.
That's yeah. I forgot about that show. Every August, the town of
Oh, this is real. This is real.
Maine.
Yeah. The big food fight one. Yeah, that's a real. I don't know if that's the name of it, but it's a big food fight one's a real one.
Massive food
100
fight.
tons
So
of
are we all
fried
believing
tomato.
Donnie?
I think I've heard of it before.
Okay.
I don't know if this is the exact festival, but I have seen the food fight festival for sure.
Well, this one is true. Donnie's right.
Yeah, look at me go.
Chaotic and messy.
Do we get points for
That
this?
sounds awesome. No, especially not you. Everybody
Yeah,
else is getting
right.
points, but you're not.
I quit.
All right, last one. Last one is Worst Fest Festival out in New Braunfels, Texas.
Yes, this is real.
I've been
I
there.
believe it's real.
Yeah.
You been to
Yeah,
the Worst
I would
Fest?
say yes.
I've heard of it. I mean, I know where they're at. Yeah.
It's really cool.
That's it. Yeah, the Worst Fest. We went on like a tour since we're down here in New Braunfels area. We went on a tour the other day, and I was like, I'll throw that in there and see if people know it. I totally forgot that Michael's like in the area, so yeah, he's probably.
Yeah, how'd that work out for you?
Well, you know what? You got to give him an easy one every once in a while, you know?
Oh, softball.
Yeah, a little bit of a softball. We're still waking up, aren't we? All right, we'll send it.
This is Michael Beltran, co-founder of Flash Marketing Agency. Marketing is not easy, and nor is it quick. So it's very important that you have a team that you can trust. After all, you can't just have anyone in your accounts posting for you. And that's where Flash Marketing comes in. Started in 2021, Flash Marketing specializes in social media management, content marketing, and paid social advertising. And today, Michael Beltran gets the hot seat with the Success Champions team.
Oh, if you guys didn't see, I actually put the definition of up holiday in chat. So, Michael, you actually look like you're somebody really impressive.
That was heat. That was, yeah, what an intro.
Except for the guy doing the voice work, it sounds really damn good. I mean,
yeah,
well, Michael,
I feel like every time I come on the show or I see the show, like Peyton's leveling up. These intros are getting better and better.
You know, he should actually start a company doing this. You know, I think he might be onto something. Well, Michael, welcome back to the show, brother. You want to catch us up a little bit since the last time we talked, and then tell us about who you are and then how we're helping this go around.
Yeah, so it's funny because today's conversation is actually kind of a continuation from the last time. Because if you guys recall, the last time we had talked about like scaling, and I had kind of figuring out when to hire and when not to, and so so since then we've actually merged with another agency. So we've grown our team to about 6 total. And we have 2 kind of new departments now that communicate with each other, but for the most part are separate. And so kind of where we're at now is this new department is new, but it's starting to fill itself up, and it's a little bit unfamiliar to me. And so the problem / kind of thing that I'm in the middle of is sort of figuring out how to scale that well and kind of when to make moves, because like we want to move fast and we are moving pretty quick and growing that thing, but I also don't want to move too quick. I bite off too much more than I can chew, and we're not really in a place internally to be able to handle all of it. And because that department is relatively new to me, decision making for that has been difficult to want to make a decision or want to maybe overstep, I guess, right? So that's kind of where we're at now. Just merged.
Well, break it down for us a little bit. So during the merger, what are the 2 divisions? What do they do and the likes? And then during that merger, did you absorb them or did they absorb you?
We absorb them. So
okay.
Like Peyton mentioned, we do like social media, like content creation management. That was always been our like 1A thing. And for up until the last few months, that's the only really thing that we did. This agency that we merged with does all paid advertising. So like Google ads, Facebook ads, TikTok ads, all that sort of stuff. But they also build out the rest of the funnel, right? So they'll do, we'll do landing pages. We'll do like automation builds, nurturing, different things like that, right? Essentially building out a whole marketing ecosystem so that, we can get people to convert into exchanging monetary, exchanging money. So we merged with them. So they were a partner with us for about a year. So we would dish out a lot of our kind of joint stuff to them. And it got to the point where, we're just kind of feeding them their entire workload is kind of coming from us. They didn't really have a brand presence, and we did. And so the idea was, hey, we're going to remove some of your risk, kind of like a group of freelancers, really. We're going to remove some of your risk. In exchange, you'll come operate under our umbrella. We'll do all the sales, and you guys just do what you're very good at, which is, running the ads, building all of that sort of stuff. So that was kind of the premise of the partnership. We finalized it in December, so it's still pretty new. But since then, we've been able to kind of fill it up like pretty quickly to the point where like we're kind of reaching a potential point of like bandwidth issues. But just figuring out when to hire, what to hire, like that stuff is just so foreign to me considering I've been only in like the social media space for so long, and like even understanding the market in social, like I have a pretty good grasp on what salary looks like, what bandwidth and workload looks like, and all of that sort of stuff. And I don't really have a lot of that intel over here. And as it continues to grow, it's growing faster really than we expected. And so as it continues to grow, like we're going to reach that point probably before, I don't know, like before I have enough intel to be able to like confidently make a decision there, you know? And so for me, it's like battling like the wanting to go fast, but also like not wanting to make, you know, if the road's not clear to me yet, I don't want to have to make a decision on where I need to go or how I do it, and then have to like kind of come back later because I made a mistake, sort of thing. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's inevitable. You're gonna make a mistake. You know, that's just gonna happen. So, is there a hierarchy in your firm? Like, I know your role and position, but is there somebody over both those divisions now that reports back to you?
Yes.
So, in those decisions and that thought process, where are they at on this overall, you know, process, if you will? Are they, you know, talking through where it should be? Are they brainstorming what should happen next? Or are you trying to do this all on your own?
No, there's definitely collaboration there. I think everyone's kind of in the position of let's just sort of just ride it out. Like just let's give time, you know, let's let time kind of take over and feel it out a bit is kind of where we're at. Like do nothing, essentially sit in the same spot and just let this kind of play out a bit. But yeah, it's collaborative. It's just they're kind of in the same boat too. Like this is kind of new for all of us. So you know, I guess they don't have any more, or they don't have any more knowledge or expertise on how this should play out as much as I do. So we're all kind of sitting in the same position of not really knowing.
Well, sorry.
Are you guys still operating kind of as two separate companies, or have you guys brought your systems and processes together yet and kind of meshed them together?
It's still a work in, it's a good question. It's still a work in progress. It's each day it's getting more and more interconnected. It's interesting though, because for the most part, those divisions don't need to communicate with each other. There's not a ton of crossover between them, and some clients do one and some do the other. So it naturally kind of is relatively separate in general, but we're trying to sort of systematize and combine some of those processes together. So it fits our whole internal ecosystem, but that's still a bit of a work in progress too.
And then how quickly are you wanting to grow?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, that's just my MO is like fast and like, let's just keep going. And kind of like I'm not afraid to fall on my face sort of thing. Like, let's just run and run and run and I'll trip and fall and then I'll just get up and not trip over the same thing again. But, and that's worked up until this point. It's just now that it's like, as you increase your liability, right? Like you can't afford to make as significant of mistakes and then just be able to kind of quickly brush yourself off anymore, right? Like the stakes get higher and higher. And so your mistakes hurt you more and more. And that's what's kind of been like my normal MO of just grow fast and let's just figure it out, to me doesn't apply as much here, because a mistake in this or doing something too fast in this could be more detrimental than it used to be, if that makes sense.
Well, the one thing I was going to say is you don't want your customers to be the people who realize that you needed to have done something first. You want to make sure that you are ahead of that. And so if you're moving too fast and it's growing so fast that your customer service starts to slip, then that will halt all of that growth as quickly as it came. So making sure that you're staying on top of your customer service, and when it feels like the customer service, like what you're providing to the customer is stretching you too thin, hire then before it all falls apart instead of being reactive. This is the point in business where you need to be proactive and make sure you're continuing to give your clients, because if you have clients who realize that something happened, like a merger, and then service starts to drop, then they will be like freaking out about it. You know what I mean? So you kind of have to hit that one ahead of time. And so that would be my only like big suggestion here, is make sure that you don't let the service slip before you hire and then be reactive about it.
And I think and I'm sure you're doing an operational meeting where you're talking about all the projects you have coming up and the likes. I think the more you bring both sides of the table together to have those overall conversations, because I think one of your growth areas is going to be which clients aren't using the other services and how do we upsell and get those people to utilize these other services. And sometimes there's intimate conversations being had with customers that both sides need to understand and hear about. So there's other opportunities there. Anytime you have some sort of merger, the biggest thing you got to protect, I think, to Ashley's point, is the overall culture of the company. So what are you doing internally to bring both teams together to really envelop them into your overall culture? Because that's going to be your baseline for, your growth strategy moving forward.
Yeah, it's a good point. The nice thing, I think, for us to kind of talk about that is that we've been working with them for so long, and they've been pretty integrated with us just naturally by through our partnership. So a lot of the reason why they even decided to come with us in the first place was because of that sort of like culture and the work ethic and all of those like little intangibles. We got to kind of feel each other out in those areas for a long time before this move came. So like there was a lot of that understanding between each other, right? That kind of happened beforehand, which has helped out a lot because it didn't really require a lot of explanation or like, reiterating like our company values and morals, right? Like we were already pretty aligned with all that stuff. I think it's like I said, to me, like it feels now that it's just so new to me that like, it's tough. Like I usually am pretty confident in like decision making and like seeing kind of seeing the roadmap. It's just like, maybe it's just because it's so like new and foreign.
So let me ask you this. What ad agency do you aspire to be like? Is there an ad agency out there that is doing things at the level you want to be doing, and have all this already created what you're trying to accomplish?
No, actually, the way that we approach things is kind of like to stick the middle finger up to how some of these bigger ad agencies operate. We feel like we can grow to be large while also maintaining a level of customer service and quality that almost every ad agency on the planet loses whenever they become so big. So that's almost like we want to stick it to the big ad agencies who treat their customers like shit and don't care about to know their first names sort of thing. So we have ad agencies that we look up to in the negative sense. Like we don't want to be that, right? But there isn't really somebody that
have you reached out to the
like
CEOs of those companies that you don't want to end up like and say, hey, can I buy you lunch and walk through your guys' kind of story and journey and how you got there from a educational standpoint, so you can just hear what they did at the different levels and stages of their businesses? Because if learning what not to do is also as powerful as learning what to do. So it might be a fun interview project for you.
That's a good thing. I never thought about that. That's actually a good suggestion.
Do you guys have metrics that would show you if things were starting to slip, even if you weren't hearing it from your clients, like re-signs or growth numbers or something that would tell you that a client is on the up and up that you could keep an eye on to be like, okay, look, we're seeing numbers dropping, so we need to be looking at that? I would assume you do, being a marketing agency. I'm just...
Yeah. And especially like, because at the end of the day, like it's when we're talking this new department, that department is there to generate revenue for the client, right? So even as simple as, are we still making them more money than they're spending on us, is a really good metric for us. Because at the end of the day, if we're making the client more money than they're spending with us, I mean, the retainment percentage there is as high as it could get, right? If you're always making more than you're spending in your marketing, you're going to be pretty happy about that. But other than that, like, because I get your point, and I think those obvious ones are there, but we haven't gotten to as far enough to like try to create metrics or ways that almost like you said, we can catch it early enough to where it doesn't develop to where like the client starts to notice or like the client starts to feel the impact of those things, right? So I hear what you're saying. It's a good suggestion because we haven't gotten to that point yet, I don't think.
So going off the metrics thing is one thing that I was picking up is you don't have a clear defined goal. And if you're at the top of this position, you're leading all these people, you don't have a goal that you can verbalize then no one else knows what that goal is that we need to attain. And we need to get those metrics in place so we can attain those goals. And we know what we need to do to accomplish and get to those goals. And that will more clearly define how we hire people, when we need to hire, and all that stuff. So I would look at what do you want at the end of the year, and let's start breaking it down backwards, just like you would do a normal ad campaign, marketing campaign. What are our goals at the end of the campaign? How do we need to do this and implement it to get it to that goal?
That's a good point. Yeah, it's almost like it just like almost feels like we just haven't, like, it's just been so fast and so fresh that we just haven't even really gotten to like the time to just like breathe and really work through that sort of stuff, right? And I think like you're right, like my sense of like not understanding probably stems from that. Like we haven't really just defined much in this department yet, right? Like we're kind of all just in this like period of anarchy that we need to sort of organize ourselves internally a little bit better.
Why don't you go ahead, Jess?
Oh, I was going to say, have you done a strategy session, like just a full day strategy session?
That's where I was going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can take it, Donnie.
Yeah. Take a day. And I know there's going to be a lot of work and things done, but take the two leaders of both those divisions and just go get a hotel room, freaking whiteboard, sit down and start mapping out what the rest of 2025 looks like. Because to Jess's point, if you don't know where the hell you're going, you're going to end up all over the damn place. But they're going to have thoughts and ideas, and more of it's going to come out of it. And I would tell you, finding somebody who's a third party that could just walk you through a strategy session, like Jess and I did it with Jerry, and it was off the charts, the things we thought through, because it just gives you an outside perspective, and somebody just to ask you questions that you're not thinking of, so you're not three of you people sitting there staring at each other. But
what it also does is it gets it visually out there. And I don't know how many times we've put stuff on boards that we just start seeing the gaps. When we sit and look at the numbers, we start seeing the gaps and where we need to close in on our systems and our processes and redefine and improve them. So,
and what's causing the bottleneck other than direction? Is it you're afraid that you can't handle capacity, the volume of work coming in because you don't understand what it takes to do said work? What is that? What it is?
Yeah.
I mean, I think you have to kind of like lean on your people a little bit and really trust your people too, to be honest with you, if they're feeling stretched, because you don't want to, like Jess was saying about the culture, you don't want to lose the culture either and have people feel so stressed that then they're going to leave you. So make sure that you're having conversations with those people and, getting as real as you can about it. Like you have to tell me when you're at a breaking point and we need to bring on more hands.
Yeah. And there's another interesting point to this too, in that like with our social media department, like each month is super consistent with the workload, right? Like it's the same set of deliverables each month. And so like, it's pretty clear to know. Whereas in this department, like 80 to 85% of the workload is done up front. So like it's really front loaded. And then it becomes much easier to manage after like, say month 4 or 5 with working in a project. I think that aspect is kind of tripping me up too, right? Because I'm so used to the consistency and like understanding of workload with this other department that we've been working in this entire time. Whereas this is almost like a completely new concept to sort of understand. And then like,
then your problem isn't so much bottlenecking. It's a business development strategy that keeps that from happening. Yeah. So when one client starts to fade off, you should be loading up another client. Right. So you can keep that consistent level of work. So now I've never run a company like this, so this is just me pulling shit straight out of my ass. But in theory, there's one team that handles a front load, and then it gets passed off to a secondary team that just manages what the front team figured out. Right. That way your front team can constantly be handling the new project and the ramp up, and then kind of hand it over to a maintenance team, if that makes sense, so that you can continue to bring on the volume. Because volume works, as long as you create the processes to keep volume in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's what Donnie's saying. Have have more of the front load people that can then filter it down to the people who can do the work after that. and still keep it a team, but, have that moving along. That way you have a little bit more, you have a little bit better idea of who's going to have what workload at what time.
I would also see if you could shadow that team, because you keep on saying it's unfamiliar space. So they probably have that process and system in place. You just don't understand it yet. So that also goes back to team culture building, because you're spending time on the floor with your employees to learn what they do and what drives them in these campaigns. And it gets you more familiar with their work. Not saying you have to do, not saying you have to execute, but now you have the knowledge to make better decisions on the front side.
And I'm curious, Michael, what if you hadn't merged, what would they have done to grow and meet fulfillment demands, right? Because
that's a great question.
Right, like what would they have done otherwise without you at the helm?
So they would be partnering with other marketing agencies. Most of them don't do this sort of like lead gen type of stuff. So most of their clientele have come from other agencies sort of feeding them kind of in the same similar partnership as me. But it's inconsistent, right? It's like one of those agencies just recently like went under, and some uncontrollable aspects to doing that. But that's how they had been sort of maintaining, managing, but they weren't really necessarily growing a whole lot. They were just kind of, staying alive. They were able to keep going, but it was inconsistent.
So basically you absorb, save their company, and now it's your job to build their company. It's just under your umbrella.
I wouldn't say I saved them necessarily. I mean, they were doing well and they're good at it. Like they deserve a lot. I mean, they're really, really good at it. They're just like, like some people just like to be behind the computer, like doing the thing. They just didn't like to sell, right? So they never really cared to build like a brand presence or to build like any consistent sort of branding. They just want to do the job, right? And so for them, it's not like I was saving them, like they were going under necessarily. I think it just made a lot of sense for them to be able to offload the sales piece of it and just get fed stuff that they could just work, like they could just work on, right, consistently.
Do you know what their capacity is?
No, I mean, no, because they never really ever reached it, right? Themselves internally.
I forget who said it, but are they coming to you saying we're hitting capacity? We're worried if we can handle the workload?
No, and we haven't gotten there yet, but we have talked about what is the capacity, and the answer really is like we're not sure, right?
Yeah. Go find out. Go sell your ass off. Figure out what capacity is. Right? Because right now, hearing and understanding that, you're worrying about a problem that doesn't currently exist.
I mean, it's
right, but it could
for sure.
Right. It could exist. And like to Ashley's point, I don't want that to come at the expense of, so like, I don't want to realize I'm there at the expense of like one of my clients, like not getting like,
right. Well, what I'm also looking at is you got a group of people that like to do. They didn't do business development. So likely what little business development they were do is capacity to work on projects. So they've likely never hit their capacity or even come close to it as a company themselves. Like, so there's a big gap between how much they can currently handle and what they're currently doing. So, it's not about pushing it till it fails. It's about pushing it until your team says, okay, this is a lot. Right? You're not trying to put it, into the rails or into the grass or into the ditch, whatever. You're trying to get to the point where does your team start going, okay, we need to slow it down a little bit, because that's whoever said it earlier, to the trust you got to have in your team to be able to say, this is the workload. Once you have that benchmark, now everything can fall a line around it, versus trying to guess what's likely to happen.
Right.
So I also have this theory that I call play with a bench. So have a bench of people that you can hire or want to hire if you need to make sure that capacity doesn't overflow. Mm-hmm. So just somebody that in the space, that does a good job or something like that, but don't be caught with nobody on the bench and needing somebody.
And I bet they have people.
Oh yeah, we do. Yeah.
Right. Well, I mean, even them themselves, as you brought them in, they've got people that they've worked with in the past. Yeah. Right. So that's a great point, Ash, that, so it doesn't all crash and burn.
Yeah, and I guess that offers that layer of like protection, so to speak, right? Like you really wouldn't be in the most compromising position ever, knowing you have some of those folks on the bench that could step in and on a whim and take care of some stuff that you'd need them to.
I mean, even if you had a conversation with somebody that you knew would be good for something like this and said, hey, this is what we're looking at. I don't know what capacity looks like yet, but I'm afraid to hit it and not have somebody available. So would you be available on just a contract basis for one project if I needed you to be? And then you have time to figure things out.
Yeah. On top of that, I would say, especially in an agency world, see what you can do to bring them out and test them in a small way before them bringing them fully into the project. So that way, you know that they mesh with the team and like all those scares and everything is put to bed, that when you get to that crunch time, you can just bring them in and you know they're going to be a team player.
Yeah, it's like that, being like a little bit more proactive with it, right?
Yeah, definitely.
And now I'm thinking, what other services are you potentially offering that you're outsourcing to companies like this that have the same problem? Can you gobble up a couple more companies to buy more capacity? I mean, if you're going to go big, I mean, there's a lot of small businesses. Their biggest struggle is the business development sales side of things. Like they don't know how to go find enough clients. They just want to do the work. So what other services can you potentially go after? This becomes the first documented process of it, but what's the process then to onboard a merge like this for future other offerings? But go fast and go crazy.
Yeah, it's a good point, because I feel like for them, it's been such an interesting shift for me internally, because like for the last like 3 years and some change, I've always been like, we just want to be niche and narrow and stick to what we're good at and screw everything else. And like most agencies don't do that, right? Like to your point, Donnie, most agencies do gobble up different service lines until they eventually can do everything. And I never wanted to be that until recent. Like it's almost like I'm having that revelation. Like I understand why they do that now, that I continue to grow. And there's so many things that people ask me for that I don't do, that part of me wants to, like, part of me feels like maybe that is the right way to go, but I still have that thing. Like, I don't want to be like everyone else, sort of.
Then you have to set the culture hard up front, right? Like, the more you bring your internal team in to buy into an overall culture, this is how we will handle clients. This is how we will handle internal process. This is how we will handle workflows. And you are constantly talking culture, right? You can protect what you're trying to build and not become that. What happens to a lot of those companies is as they absorb, they don't bring the people together anymore. They say, this is your division, go run the division, right? There's no cohesive, there's no thoughts around culture. So you're really going to have to set what truly is our overall mission? What are our core values? How do we show up and represent and talk to our people? What am I doing to bring my teams together so they're friends as well as colleagues? And what's the overall environment? And I'm not talking about recreating Google where you got ping pong tables and pool tables and whatnot, but there's got to be real things that bring your people together. If you don't have those standards as you grow, you'll become those other companies.
That's a good point. Yeah. And like for us, we're all remote too. So like I have to really work to like create those opportunities. It's not like it can happen naturally, like we're all coming to an office or something, right? Like I have to really work to create those opportunities and like continue to create those.
They have stupid shit like virtual escape rooms, and whatnot that you can do. So there's stupid team building things. I'm not sure all that crap works, but just as an idea, there are ways to bring people together virtually. Can you get them all playing, World of Warcraft or some shit? Just something to where there's conversations non-work related happening. Because I think that's really powerful in the overall culture.
Yeah. And I would also, going back to the strategy session, add in whenever we start building a networking group within SCN, we start with something called the Champions Anthem. And we all get them to vocalize why they are here, why they want to build this, and what their vision is within inside of SCN. So they take ownership in what they are doing. And so I think I would definitely start with that as you go into your strategy session, as you're pulling these new people in. So everyone's aligned in where they're going in the vision.
Yeah, and when everybody's building it, like they feel like they're creating the culture right along with you, there's a hell of a lot more buy-in.
One of the best after 2020, when my whole team was remote, one of the best team building activities we did was that they hired a like bar trivia person, and then we had just virtual teams and did trivia that way, and it was a blast. And I will even say, like, I was at that point where I was like, do I really need to do team building right now? That they're making me go. And then I had so much fun. And it really was a chance to like get to meet some people that I didn't see every day. And it was just 1 hour. It wasn't like we were taking up a ton of everybody's time. But it was nice to see faces and all be in the same place. So I'll just say that trivia one was the most fun that we had doing that.
I think even doing a virtual wine tasting, whiskey tasting, that's just up my alley, to where everybody gets shipped a couple of bottles of whatever. You bring in a sommelier to walk you through what it is, and, throw trivia, throw everything out. But anything, what the hell is recognition and appreciation? You can stay back there and just, do your thing, Peyton. Peyton, what do you mean by recognition, appreciation? Pop in.
Just like once a week or once a month saying like, hey, this person did really good in our company. Hey, shout out this guy. They brought in X amount of clients, or shout out this guy. They pumped out the project 3 days earlier than we expected. Just recognition and appreciation for what your guys did, just to show that you care about them still.
Yeah. I mean, that's a really good point, because every SCN meeting, we end it with a weekly wins where people are shouting out each other of how and thanking people for things they received and were able to give during the week. So it's always an amazing part to bring into the company.
For sure.
I know you said all your people are remote. Are they spread all over the United States, or are there some that are clustered in areas?
Luckily they're all here in Austin. Yeah, we're all here.
There, then you can get together.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, you're in Austin now. It's freaking go to a winery, go to have a coffee, go have breakfast, go do things, because there's so much power in getting out from behind the screen and going and doing something.
I feel so. Oh, go ahead.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
On what you were saying about not wanting to be like other agencies that do everything and people asking you if you can do something and you're like, damn, do I really just want to start to provide that? I've been down that road, and it always felt better to me to say, look, I am not a professional in that area, but I can find you somebody that is, or I have somebody that is. And even if it is a little bit of a pass off, they appreciate so much that you're saying, I am not an expert there, and I have experts in that area. So my opinion, stick with where you're at. Don't build too much out. I mean, a little bit is great. If it's one thing that you felt like was constantly going in, totally makes sense. But don't start to like add layers, because then you absolutely will hit capacity faster than you think you're going to, and then be like, shit, now we're spinning out. So I mean, I totally feel you on that. Don't go too wide, because then you definitely will have trouble with that. But I mean, I think
insight.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, even places like when I was doing direct mail and people wanted geo-targeting, I was like, look, I don't do geo-targeting, but I have a company that does. I'm happy to connect you with them and you probably have already done this with these partners that you brought in now, but have referrals, have a partnership with people so that when you're passing, you're getting the referral for that. But it keeps you in your lane and doing what you're an expert at, and lets the people that are experts at the other thing do their thing, and you both still benefit from that. Like you had probably like this it was before you made the merger, I'm guessing.
Yeah, exactly right.
And I think you take your leadership team, do the offsite first, right? And then I would consider doing a company-wide offsite of some sort of planning and strategy, because they're going to have input, that you guys hadn't thought about from a leadership perspective. But then they do feel more part of the overall, this is the culture, this is what we're trying to build as a company. Remember when I was sold commercial printing, they brought in ESOP, which is, your employee stock ownership program. Going through the ESOP program to go down that path was really, really cool, because they brought in a couple of consultants that talked to us, based on where we were in a company, what we wanted to see, the vision, the culture, and everything too. So what they ultimately ended up putting up as our mission was not what a lot of us said we wanted, because they didn't listen to us. But the going through the process was pretty cool, because it felt like we were contributing until what they rolled out was completely opposite of what all those salespeople said. But the process going through it was a lot of fun, because you felt like you were contributing to it. So,
one of the companies I worked with did something kind of similar to something Donnie has said before. He had a water cooler hours is what he called it, where he had a Zoom that he was always on, and the link was available to everyone. And so if they ever wanted to jump in and chat with him, like he's like, I'll be online today from noon to 2. If anybody wants to jump in and chat, shoot the shit, or have any questions, I'm going to be in my Zoom link, and you all have access to it. So if you want to jump in, feel free to. And it was always just you want to talk to the boss about any ideas you have, or anything you want to talk about, just get off your chest. They're always available during this hour on this time or this day of the week to talk about that and just get it off your chest. And I thought that was a cool way to build culture, but also like you felt not important, but you felt like you were on the talking to the boss. Yeah, definitely being heard.
Yeah.
I think maybe getting people together in person too, if you do like a whole team thing in person, you might be able to get a better vibe for what capacity feels like. For some people, if you have that whole group of people sitting in a room talking together, then they might be, they might be able to bounce ideas off of each other about what that capacity looks like. So you might get a better idea of it just from having them all talking about it together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really like that suggestion.
Yeah, it will probably reinforce as well that they're not, because it's very easy when you go remote to feel like you're by yourself working. But bringing them all together will reinforce that they're not alone, that they are with a team that they can lean on for support.
Just make it someplace they want to go. There's nothing worse than somebody saying, we're doing team building, and they take everybody out to a ropes course, and half the people there are like, I play video games, I don't rope course, or whatever else, right? So bring them to a cool venue, like if there's a new place in town or something that everybody's been trying to get to but hasn't been to yet. That's the type of venue you take them to, just so there's an overall experience. They're not just dreading getting it together.
I heard from another friend about a new rooftop bar in Austin that has $30 chicken tenders, so you should probably take them there.
$30
chicken tenders. Oh my God.
I would have to go back and ask him what the name of the restaurant was, but he posted the menu and I was like, what in the hell? 2 chicken tenders for $30? I am out on that.
That's invested in gold. Jeez.
Yeah. There's some impressive chicken tenders. Jeez, Pete.
Yeah, but now you need to go try it out for us so we can come back with a review for us and let us know.
That's hilarious.
Well, awesome. Well, Michael, we threw a whole bunch of shit at you. Kind of curious some of your highlights, takeaways, and action items from here.
So I really like the suggestions of, I think getting the team together, because we haven't gotten a chance to do that yet. And that to me, I think is going to help clear up. Because like I said, the feeling of non-understanding or not feeling like educated enough or confident enough to make decisions. I think like doing some sort of in-person, like getting everybody together. Let's talk about our roles. Let's just spit it all out there, right? I think that'll help clear up a lot of that stuff, get some expectations out there, and then like everyone can feel a bit more confident in kind of where they're going to fit into this, kind of new ecosystem internally that we're working on. And I think kind of going along with that, fitting in some time to do some like culture related stuff, right? We have like a, like a mission statement, core values. We have like an employee handbook, so to speak, but even just getting their input on it and talking through it and like getting that all out there, speaking it into existence, I think will be very helpful for us. And then like Jessica mentioned, like just getting a better understanding of the metrics and how we can track kind of where bandwidth gets to a point, or if we, starting to figure out some of those things internally so we don't. So, I guess the goal would be to then be able to feel confident enough to know where our bandwidth is without sacrificing, our clients' experience in exchange for that, right? So kind of finding where that line is, I think will be important. But I think a lot of that stuff can be done in this sort of like strategic / team bonding, in-person session, getting everybody together that I think to me, that's like the big thing to really work on and get done.
That's
awesome. You'll knock out a lot with that.
Yeah. Yeah. Michael, if you ever get a chance, I'd love a video testimonial about you sitting on the hot seat and why you've done it twice now with us. I think that would help us get more people to sign up for it. So thanks for coming on today, bud. Guys, let's talk about upcoming events. What do you have coming down the pipes? What workshops, trainings, and the likes do you have? Bernie, I know you got one.
Yep, I got one with Allison Simmons coming up next week, Tuesday, the 28th at 1 p.m. Eastern, where she is going to be teaching business owners how to use AI to simplify, streamline, and scale their business. Really excited to work with Allison again on that one.
Nice. So, Jess?
Awesome. I have 30 content ideas in 1 hour. We're going to brainstorm content ideas. It's not going to be related to SEO, not going to be related to anything, but one of our biggest struggles is when we sit down, we try to create content. So I'm going to give you a tool that uses, helps you create 30 content ideas in 1 hour. And then we're also going down to Austin to visit you, Michael, on the first weekend for Tough Mudder. So you joining us?
Oh, I know. I wasn't anticipating, but
you are now. You are now. So
let me know when and where.
Okay.
That's awesome. So I've got a couple events coming up. One is on the 29th with Tim Berry. Tim's running a workshop all about prospecting for 2025. So tickets are in my profile post this morning. So I'll be running a session for him on networking. So, but tickets seem to start moving on that. So that's coming up on the 29th. Then on the 24th, I'm hosting a virtual workshop because that one, Tim's, is in person. No, it's virtual. It's virtual. I've got a workshop coming up Friday all about what is it? How to create a whole bunch of endless warm leads coming into your business through a pretty cool strategy we've used and deployed for a lot of time. So you can find that on LinkedIn as well. Of course, we got the Badass Business Summit, September 17th through the 19th. The team met for the first time last week, getting that one ramped up and have some really cool ideas and a lot more information getting ready to come out on that. So, and on the Badass Business Summit, guys, when we, lay more of this out, we are already 50% sold out on the summit. So when we drop the links and everything, you're going to want to move fast to make sure you get your seat secured there. People keep telling me we're going to sell out because of all the buzz last year. I'm hopeful, so we'll see what happens, when we get closer. Peyton, who do we have next week in the live? Caught him right on the side. So, but guys, we're here every Monday, 8 a.m. Central Time. Help you kick the week off. We watch Ashley come sliding in right at 8 o'clock to join us every time. It's awesome as she takes care of her kiddo every morning. But come hang out with us. You figured out who it was, P?
Yeah, Melissa Cohen next week.
Ooh, that'll be fun. So Melissa Cohen joins us in the hot seat. And if you haven't followed Melissa on LinkedIn, you're surely missing out. So, well, guys, thanks for joining us. Thanks for hanging out. We will see y'all next Monday. Love you, mean it. See you. Bye.
Bye.